Alright, everybody, peace. Welcome to the Sorry to Bother You Basketball Show. Wherever or however you're listening, we are so grateful to have you here with us. As you guys know, I'm your host, Sean Cotto. And we've got a wonderful show for today, guys. As you guys know, we are going to be previewing the 2024 NBA Finals matchup between the Boston Celtics and the Dallas Mavericks, a highly touted matchup. We're going to be covering that in the second segment of our show today. And we are also going to be recapping the historic performance put on by Ajawilson last night against the Dallas Wings. And to lead off the show, we're going to be starting with some breaking news coming out of the NBA as well. And that is the breaking news that the Los Angeles Lakers are set to offer a massive, quote-unquote, massive contract to current UConn head coach Dan Hurley. And though no official numbers have been given out yet for the contract, the contract will be slated to make Dan Hurley the highest paid coach. And is coming off of the Lakers season in which they lost in the first round to the Dallas Mavericks. To the Denver Nuggets in 5 games. And there are reports that the Los Angeles Lakers are potentially going to use the 55th pick in the draft to draft Bronny James, the son of LeBron James. And all of this is enticing, can be intriguing, makes this storyline much more interesting. And as you guys know, Dan Hurley is coming off back-to-back championships at UConn. And that puts him in line or in the same conversation or in the conversation to be one of the greatest head coaches in UConn men's history. Obviously, the previous two head coaches won championships as well. Previous being Kevin Ollie, who won a national championship in 2014. Previously, before that, Jim Calhoun won 2 national championships, one of them being in 2011 and the other one being in 2004, if I'm wrong about that. One of you brothers can correct me on that. But Dan Hurley obviously comes from a long line of great coaches at UConn, but Dan Hurley will be making a massive leap if he does decide to take the offer from the Los Angeles Lakers. I've not heard any reports on which way he is trending towards. However, based on my insight, just my knowledge of the game, if I'm Dan Hurley, I would be hesitant about taking this offer with the Los Angeles Lakers because there's a lot of uncertainty. I mean, we talked about the potentiality of the Lakers drafting Bronny James with the 55th pick, which means that you will likely be able to get LeBron James for at least 2 more seasons. However, there's too many uncertainties to take a job like the Los Angeles Lakers and to leave so much stability, to leave so much success, and to leave something that you've established in UConn with Dan Hurley, to go into uncertainty with Los Angeles Lakers without, quite frankly, any reassurance aside from a financial standpoint, to me at this point doesn't seem ideal, unless Dan Hurley is looking for a transition in his career. As men, sometimes we feel we've established, we've conquered the dragon already. We've done everything we needed to do, or we feel like we can do in one position. So we leave. We're off to face new challenges. We're off to see if we can do it again. And that's a beautiful thing about when you're able to win a championship. That's something that I experienced this past season. When you win a championship, there's part of you that worries about that passion being gone, that drive leaving you after winning. But it's refreshing and reassuring when you realize that passion, that drive is still there. And when you win one championship, what you tell yourself is, okay, well, let me just do it again. Let me see if I can do it again. Because then you reach your point in your career and in your mental state where you no longer see failure. You no longer understand failure. Failure is no longer an option because you truly realize that failure does not exist. And you tell yourself, okay, what's the worst that can happen if I continue to chase after more championships and more success? And you realize there are no negative side effects. There are no negative aspects to it. Because like I said before, failure is not an option. Failure is not real. It's a fallacy. And perhaps that's the mental state that Dan Hurley is in. Perhaps he realizes to himself that he's conquered the dragon. He's, like I said, he's won championships. He's figured out what it's like to be successful. And so why not chase it again? But this time in a different perspective. This time in a different league, in a different, under different circumstances. And that could be the mindset that Dan Hurley is in. And if he does decide to take the Lakers job, he will have his job cut out for him because there's so much uncertainty. The Lakers don't know how long will LeBron James will be in the league. Obviously, he made All NBA third team this past season, but and it's weird to say this, that he's he's on the decline. It seems like people have been saying it for the past couple of years, but obviously LeBron James is generational talent. Anthony Davis, there's a lot of uncertainty there. Can Anthony Davis be the best player on a championship team? I don't think he can at this point, not from a skill standpoint or a physical standpoint, but from a mental standpoint. There's a lot of pieces that need to be re-signed. How long will those pieces be there? Austin Reeves and Rui Hachimura and Taurean Prince. There's a lot of uncertainty within that Lakers organization, basketball-wise, that Dan Hurley will be throwing himself into. But I just wanted to cover this news with you today, guys, because it was breaking news, just happened today, and we didn't even plan on covering it. But as a media company, we must do what we must do. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Leave your thoughts in the chat room. What do you guys think about the potential opportunity that Dan Hurley has with the Lakers? Will he accept the offer? Will he stay at UConn? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. I'm looking forward to hearing your guys' thoughts and opinions on it. But that being said, guys, in our next segment, we are going to be previewing the NBA Finals matchup between the Boston Celtics and the Dallas Mavericks. So be sure to stick around for that, guys. You're not going to miss it. We'll be right back. All right, everybody, welcome back. In case you missed the first segment of our show, we just discussed the breaking news involving the Los Angeles Lakers and UConn head coach Dan Hurley. The Los Angeles Lakers are set to offer a massive contract to Dan Hurley that will make him the highest paid player in the NBA if he accepts the offer. We just discussed the potential options, the potential things that could happen if Dan Hurley were to accept that job with Los Angeles Lakers. But guys, in this segment, we are going to be previewing the NBA Finals that starts today at 8:30, between the Boston Celtics and the Dallas Mavericks. Currently, the Boston Celtics are favored to win this NBA Finals, and as you guys know, the Boston Celtics defeated the Indiana Pacers in a sweep in the conference finals, and before that defeated the Cleveland Cavaliers in the second round in 5 games. And before that, in the first round, they defeated the Miami Heat in 5 games as well. That was the route they took to get to the NBA Finals, while the Dallas Mavericks defeated the Clippers in 6 games and defeated the Oklahoma City Thunder in 6 games and defeated the Minnesota Timberwolves in 5 games to get to the NBA Finals. A lot of storylines in this finals matchup, and I'm going to keep it on a 2-dimensional basis. I'm not going to get 3D with this. Just keep it on a 2D perspective. Obviously involving Kyrie and his return to Boston Garden, the dynamic between Kristaps Porzingis and Luka Doncic. That coupled with the fact that the Boston Celtics have made the NBA Finals for the second time in 3 seasons. Will this be the season that they finally get over the hump? This is Luka Doncic's first NBA Finals, and the Dallas Mavericks' first finals appearance since 2011. There's a lot of storylines involving two talented teams, and the question becomes now, okay, who's going to win? Who's going to be successful? And what are going to be the keys to success for each of these teams? And let's start with the Boston Celtics. Listen, guys, something that I talked about last season was the fact that I've seen enough from Jason Tatum to tell me that he can't be the best player on a championship team. And something that I've seen with the Boston Celtics, of course, this playoff run, is how the offense is slowly starting to shift towards running through Jaylen Brown. Most of the sets, most of the reads, most of the actions are starting off with Jaylen Brown, are putting Jaylen Brown in position to be the primary playmaker and decision maker. And you've seen Boston's offense be more efficient and more successful, quite frankly, because of that. And around this time last year, when Boston was having discussions about whether to extend Jaylen Brown or possibly trade him, my thought process was, well, you shouldn't want to trade Jaylen Brown. If anything, you should trade Jason Tatum, because Jason Tatum has already shown you that he can't be the best player on the championship team. People talk about that, how Jaylen Brown is a young player and how, he still has years of experience to grow. But listen, Jaylen Brown's 25, going on 26. If I'm wrong about that, one of you guys correct me. However, people hear his age and they say, oh, well, LeBron James didn't win until he was 28. Jordan didn't win until he was 28. Steph Curry didn't win until he was 28. The difference is that Jason Tatum has had playoff success and deep playoff runs from the very beginning of his career. So he started establishing his experience in the playoffs from an early age. And that's where that difference comes in. And Tatum has had ample opportunities with being the primary option and the best player on championship level teams, but he has shown that he can't be the best player on a championship team. And instead of trading away Jaylen Brown for pieces, you're more likely to get more pieces if you trade Tatum based on how he's perceived by the NBA. Why not trade Tatum and move Brown over to that primary option? Because you're more likely to get pieces. That's if you were going to trade either one of the guys. But the Boston Celtics organization and Joe Mazzulla, they decided to just shift the dynamic, shift the responsibility towards Jaylen Brown and more away from Jason Tatum. And it's quiet as kept, something that a lot of people aren't talking about for some reason. I'm not sure why. But with Jaylen Brown being now the primary focal option, the primary option within that Boston Celtics offense, it's allowed to be more efficient and more multifaceted, more multidimensional. Then, that coupled with the fact that Derek White is also playing efficiently, and Drew Holiday is having a career season as well. And with the return of Kristaps Porzingis, that's going to add another dimension to the offense as well. And obviously Al Horford, who continues to play efficiently and consistently as well. However, Jaylen Brown being your primary option gives the Boston Celtics the best chance to win an NBA championship. And it's because we've already seen what Tatum can do as the primary option on multiple occasions, and it's not enough. So why not see what you can do with Brown? And that's what the Boston Celtics are doing this season. And we're not going to go down the road of what's going to happen with the Boston Celtics if they lose this finals. And we'll save that for a show that we do down the road. But I will say this: there's more pressure on the Boston Celtics to win this finals than the Dallas Mavericks. But what do the Dallas Mavericks need to do in order to be successful, in order to win this series, in order to win this championship? They need to continue to do what they've been doing these past two series against Oklahoma City and against the Minnesota Timberwolves, and that's attacking early, attacking often. And something that Kyrie Irving has been doing a tremendous job of, especially in the Minnesota series, is picking his spots and being aggressive early, like I said. This is the best version of Kyrie Irving that I've seen throughout his career. People like to say, well, the version of him that was in Brooklyn, what's his prime, or some people even say when he was in Boston that was his prime. I don't follow those storylines. I don't follow that sentiment, because what's making this version this season of Kyrie Irving so tremendous and phenomenal to watch is, one, his pacing. His ability to change his pace, his ability to pick his spots more proficiently and efficiently. Not pick his spots to score, but also pick his spots to play make. That's what's making him so dynamic, and it's adding another dimension to him. He's now starting to play like a true point guard. And that dimension of being able to play like a true point guard, that just adds to the things that he can already do as a scorer. Right? And so now you put Kyrie Irving in that traditional point guard role, and he can pick his spots more proficiently. And now when he attacks the lane, he attacks the defense now has to be more honest, because beforehand, defenses will play Kyrie Irving to like he's going to score, so they want to force him to get the ball out of his hands. But now, since he's already looking to play make on the drive as opposed to just looking to score, it keeps the defense more honest. So now they can't necessarily help off too much, which makes the lane more open for Kyrie and makes it easier for him to get an open shot in the one-on-one situation, and that just makes it easier for him. And so because he's mastered or has become proficient at the ability to play make and to pick his spots, not just to score but to facilitate, it just makes him that more proficient, efficient, and makes the defense be honest, which leads to easier scoring opportunities for Kyrie. So that's going to be the key to success for the Dallas Mavericks, is Kyrie Irving's continuation of proficiency in the playmaking situations, playing that traditional point guard role, and Luka Doncic attacking early, attacking often. We've seen that Dallas is at its best when Luka attacks early, the team attacks early, when they're aggressive, when they get off the hot starts. It just gets him the rhythm, and that energy on the offensive end follows him to the defensive end. And that's going to be the key to success for Boston in order to win the series. But I do think this is going to be an intense series. I believe this is going to be an exciting series. I believe it will go at least 6 or 7 games, and I'm going to go with the Dallas Mavericks in 6 games. And I believe this will cause people who have changed their perception of Kyrie Irving, it will cause them to change their perception again. But those who truly follow basketball and follow the entertainment industry for what it's worth, they know that things have been consistent and nothing has changed. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Who do you guys think is going to win this series? What is going to be the key to success for either of these teams? Leave your thoughts in the comment section. I'm looking forward to hearing all about it. But guys, in the last segment of our show, we're going to be discussing the historic night put on by Ajawilson against the Dallas Wings. So be sure to stick around for that, guys. You're not going to miss it. We'll be right back. All right, everybody, welcome back. In case you missed the first segment of our show, we discussed the NBA Finals matchup between the Dallas Mavericks and the Boston Celtics and what's going to be the key to success for each of these teams. And in our last segment, guys, we're going to be discussing Ajawilson's historic performance put on against the against the Dallas Wings. If you don't know, last night Wilson had an historic performance. She was the first player in WNBA history to record at least 35 points, 10 plus rebounds, and 6 plus steals, 5 plus steals in an WNBA game. For those who are new to watching the WNBA, they are now finally starting to consider Wilson the best player in the WNBA. But as you guys know, if you've been watching our show for quite a while, we've been saying this for at least the past season, and we were advocates of Wilson winning the MVP award last season, though it was given to Breonna Stewart. We understand the dynamics behind that and why it was. But speaking on it right now, yes, this performance has cemented, if it hasn't already, for Wilson as being the best player in the WNBA. And what's interesting is that, the Las Vegas Aces won 101-84 against the Dallas Wings last night. The Aces didn't truly ever get into a rhythm, though. If you watch the game, they had spurts where they would go on a couple of runs, but they never truly looked like they were in rhythm. The offense looked clunky, and in all honesty, the offense has looked like that all season. We gotta remember the Las Vegas Aces are missing Chelsea Gray. They're all WNBA, their all-star point guard. And so now you have Kelsey Plum and Jackie Young sharing the point guard duties. And we know that the Aces don't really have a deep bench as it is. And with the amount of talent that is dispersed across the WNBA right now, the Las Vegas Aces can't afford to make any mistakes and to have any mishaps as they did last year. As you guys know, the Aces last year were a well-oiled machine, and they were hitting on all cylinders from the jump because they didn't really deal with injuries aside from Candace Parker. This year, the Las Vegas Aces don't have that luxury because each team in the WNBA has improved tremendously, and there's not going to be off nights. There's not going to be a night where they can coast if you're the Las Vegas Aces. So they need Wilson to play at this historic level in order for them to be successful, in order for them to possibly three-peat. And that's the beauty of the sport right now. There's so much talent. There's great competition every single night. And thankfully, if you're a fan of the WNBA, you're gonna be able to watch games more consistently, especially before the Olympics start, because the WNBA is trying to, it's kind of split the season in half, pre-Olympic and post-Olympics, just so they get all the games in, because so many players in the WNBA play for their national team, for their respective countries. But the Aces need Wilson at this point in the season to play proficiently, to play at this level, because you can tell that there's a little bit of a championship lull that's perfusing in the Aces game, and perhaps that's something that they can play out of, and that they'll be able to play through later on throughout the season. But they will definitely need Chelsea Gray in order to be in contention to win the championship this year. And that's just because there's so much talent now. The teams are better now in WNBA. But if this hasn't already, this should cement Wilson as the best player in the WNBA, and she's now in prime position to have an MVP season. But for those who have been watching the WNBA, this is nothing new. And for those who haven't, you're witnessing a player who could go down as a top 10, maybe top 5 WNBA player of all time, depending on the trajectory of her career. But we'll save that discussion for another day. But with that being said, guys, that's it for our show for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. It's been a wonderful show. If you haven't already, be sure to hit that like button, hit the subscribe button as well, so you guys can stay updated on all the latest content that we post daily. And if you would like to gain access to exclusive content, be sure to follow us on Patreon. You can do so by going to patreon.com, clicking on the search bar, and typing in Started Body Show. That way you can gain access to all of our exclusive content that we post daily. And if you'd like to support our network and our company, you can do so by following the link in the ticker below. It's streamelements.com/starterbodyshow/tip. Once again, it's streamelements.com/starterbodyshow/tip. None of this is possible without you guys as fans. We're so grateful and honored for all the love and support you show us, and it's a pleasure and an honor to have this platform to talk about the wonderful game of basketball. With that being said, guys, we'll be back again on Monday, same time, 3:30. So with that being said, guys, continue to stay safe, be vigilant, make smart decisions, and